The Sharks landed some punches on the Bullies, but they couldn't knock them out.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at The Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, we cover your team every day. We're also the number one sports podcast network out there. So if you want to follow along and be an everydayer, all you have to do, just follow wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. And today, the Sharks, they had their chances and they couldn't take advantage of them as mistakes continue to haunt this team, especially along the blue line. So we'll talk about that as the Sharks lose 4-3 to the Vegas Golden Knights. We'll talk about Maclin, Celebrini, and Will Smith both hitting big milestones today and dig into the numbers behind this game and try to figure out what went wrong for San Jose in this loss. And, going into this, I pegged this as a big game for San Jose, as a game to really kind of establish yourself and who you are in the Pacific Division, right? The Sharks kind of that just outside the playoff picture. How far can they go with this, formula of Celebrini and Smith doing cool things and goaltending kind of bailing them out? And I thought tonight was a really good chance for them to be able to, especially against a team like Vegas, which has, bullied you, especially over the last few seasons, right? As the Sharks have gone through this rebuild, and has just taken your lunch money repeatedly. And I thought tonight was a good chance for the Sharks to kind of punch back, right? And kind of see where you measure up. And, it's going to sound negative, like the first segment, but overall, for the most part, I was relatively happy with the way the team played. But when you go up against a team like Vegas yes, I know they're dealing with a ton of injuries and stuff, but they're still a very talented team, even with the injuries that they have, right? And you can't continually shoot yourself in the foot and expect to get positive results. And I think that was my biggest takeaway from tonight was I thought the Sharks, for the most part, they played with Vegas, and Vegas, definitely was the better team tonight. But the Sharks, as we saw and as they've kind of done a lot this season, is they are a good counterpunch team. They can kind of take advantage of some of their opportunities, and especially if the Sharks get out on the rush and start to make it a track meet against a little bit older, slower, more defensively sound team like Vegas, the Sharks can have success. But tonight, just too many mistakes, and a lot of the same names continue to crop up. All right. Nedeljkovic, who has played pretty well tonight, or for the most part this season, right? Just over aggressive on the Mitch Marner wraparound, right? Just very post Martin Jones contract, second contract, just sliding out into the face-off dot from Nedeljkovic there. Just tough play there. John Klingberg, I've had it about up to here with John Klingberg, who is quickly just, I think, become public enemy number one of the Sharks fan base right now. Just so many times where he just gets knocked off the puck or just cannot handle the puck. And I know Klingberg's not the biggest dude out there. I get that, but you're just putting yourself in a bad situation constantly. You think about the 4-on-1 goal. Poor Orlov doing everything he can to try to keep that out, right? The second goal that gave gave Vegas the lead. Klingberg is on the boards by himself. There's like nobody within 6 feet of him. And he just fumbles the puck. And then all of a sudden, of course, it's going the other way, right? Like Mark Stone basically, blew him up at the blue line when the Sharks finally getting some momentum in the third period. They have it, they're starting to get some offense. They're starting to get the cycle going. It gets up to Klingberg, and every forward nose just hit John Klingberg. Like, it's come down to that. If you just hit Klingberg, he's probably going to cough up the puck. And he did it again tonight. And, luckily Mark Stone wasn't able to kind of, push it the other way. But just too many mistakes from a veteran guy like John Klingberg. And, yes, I know the power play scored tonight, and that was basically because Maclin and Celebrini made a great play, and Will Smith was able to crush by himself, able to crush one there. But we're going to talk plenty Smith and Celebrini here in a little bit. But when you're a team as talent deficient, I don't know if talent deficient, but like a team on the rise like the Sharks, right? And you still have plenty of holes in the roster. You cannot make these types of mistakes and expect to win games. And Maclin, I thought, had a tough night tonight too. And it's like with Maclin, he's been yo-yoed in and out of the lineup so many times. I'm sure his confidence has to be shot right now. And anytime he's so scared to make a mistake, because next thing you know, he's probably not going to play a game now because he made a mistake here. And you feel for the guy, because I think he can be a very good defenseman, right? Go back to the preseason. Look how great he looked in the preseason. And now that he's been yo-yoed in and out of the lineup, like, the guy just looks like a shell of himself right now. And I think Maclin, I don't think Maclin's unsalvageable or anything like that. Like, I think Maclin's still a good player, can be a really good player. And he's still a young player, but you're not putting a guy like that in a position to succeed with him coming in and out of the lineup, right? And that goes back to the thing we talked about yesterday, where the Sharks just have too many defensemen. Where you're hurting everyone by having so many people here, and the Sharks clearly need to make a decision and figure out who's going to be here and who needs to go right now, because they have too many mouths to feed when it comes to the blue line. And I think that's why you're seeing so many mistakes, right? Because guys are, unfortunately, they feel like there's such a short hook where if they do make a mistake, they're not going to get back in the lineup and play. And I think they're thinking too much. And I think that they're, unfortunately, are just put in a bad position because they have so many of these issues. So, but overall, though, this was, like I said, this was an opportunity, I thought, where you could punch the bully. And Vegas won tonight, but Vegas isn't this, invulnerable, machine that they once were. Now, yes, I know they have some issues, injury wise, and they're going to be getting some goaltending help here, or potentially goaltending help here soon. We'll see. But the Sharks, you can clearly see the gap is starting to close between these two teams. And even with the star-studded talent, right? I mean, Mark Stone and Marner and Hurdle and all these other guys that Vegas, and Jack Eichel that Vegas has, the gap is starting to close. And it's not going to be long where these games are going to have bigger intensity. They're going to have more meaning behind them. And I think the Sharks are going to have to figure out how to beat Vegas, and especially such a very good defensive team like Vegas. They're going to have to figure that out. But it's coming, guys. It didn't happen tonight, unfortunately, but the tides, I think, are going to be turning here sooner than you think. So maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but the Sharks are starting to come along here. So we're going to switch over to Celebrini and Smith, who both had big milestones tonight. talk about, especially Will Smith, who's really been coming on late and arguably had one of his best games tonight in the NHL. So we'll talk about the, Celebrini Smith. What more could you want? So we'll get to that here in just a second. Let's be honest, most of us can't even name all of our financial accounts, let alone what we're worth. Between 401ks, savings, and investments is easy to lose track. That can mean leaving money on the table. That's where Monarch comes in, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or on your phone. Monarch's great because you can review everything with your partner, set shared goals. So that way, maybe if you guys are working towards, maybe your next trip, buying a house, buying a car, whatever it is, you can make better financial decisions together. Monarch's visual dashboard and smart tools make it so much easier to understand where your money's going and how to make it work harder for you. It's like your own personal Puckpedia. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarch.com, code LOCKEDONNHL for half off your first year. All right, before we continue and we talk Celebrini and Smith, do, of course, want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly part of the Locked On Network, the #1 sports podcast network. And again, if you want to follow along, all you have to do is just follow wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, you can subscribe on YouTube as well. We got plenty of great stuff. We have another interview coming up, one of the Sharks prospects. So we have that ready to go. That'll come out later this week. Of course, we have coverage after every Sharks game. We'll have some Barracuda coverage as the Barracuda are officially entering wagon territory here. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. All right, let's start with Will Smith, who hit a big milestone for the San Jose Sharks. 100 career NHL games, which sounds crazy already that these, Smith and Celebrini are already hitting these milestones. It feels like they're still just breaking into the league and stuff. And it feels like William Eklund, it felt like forever for that first 100 games. But for Will Smith and 2 goals tonight and 3 goals in the last 2 games, and now he's up to 10 goals on this season. Smith really coming into his own. The great Darren Stevens, who does all the Shark stats, everything like that. He has Will Smith is 4th among Sharks players when it comes to their first 100 NHL games and the points that they put up. Of course, Celebrini, who has yet to hit 100 points, leads the way. Pat Falloon, 73. Sandis Olishin, 72. Will Smith, very nice, 69. And Devin Setaguchi, 68. And I think what's crazy, too, about Will Smith is, you almost throw away the first, 30 games because of just how poor he started last year, right? But this, I think it shows how good Will Smith is and how good he is coming along. And yes, I'm not Will Smith playing with Maclin Celebrini 100% helps Will Smith, but it's not like Maclin Celebrini doesn't also benefit from playing with Will Smith. There's very much there. You see the chemistry that these two have and the way that they see the game and think the game together. But I how Will Smith has really come along in that shot of his, right? It's so dynamic and such a powerful shot. You saw that on the first, in the first goal where he's coming, one insane feed from Tyler Toffoli. And I know some people are mad at Toffoli for not being able to bury that goal late right now, but poor Toffoli needs a goal bad. But one, great feed by Tyler Toffoli there, very Erik Karlsson-esque. 2, his ability, Smith, he's drifting to his left while still has the puck going right, and it's able to kind of get Lindblom going to his right and leaves open Lindblom's left side there, where it's wide open for Will Smith. And he just looked locked in, dialed in, locked on, whatever you want to say. Will Smith is feeling it right now, which is a great sign for the Sharks because as you wait for Toffoli to kind of get going, I know Eklund has 2 goals in the past 2 games, and it's good to see from William Eklund. Smith and Celebrini we know this is the engine for the Sharks. Is Smith and Celebrini doing cool Smith and Celebrini things? This is the engine for the Sharks right now, and until they can start to get more secondary scoring like they had at the beginning of the season and consistent secondary scoring, it's Smith and Celebrini most nights. That's your formula. That and Yaroslav Askarov doing cool Yaroslav Askarov things. But it's good to see where, I think a lot of people had some questions about Will Smith and his game, and you go back to this time last year, right? What are the Sharks doing with Will Smith? Everything's clicked for him, right? And he not only is he such an offensive, dynamic player, but you're seeing it in all areas of the ice, right? Playing in the defensive zone, like you're seeing him be a stronger defender over there and making nice little plays and subtle plays there. And I think it's just going to continue to grow. And Smith right now with his 2 goals tonight, he's back on track for a 30-goal season. So we'll see. Long way to go. But Smith hitting 30 would be a huge accomplishment for San Jose to have potentially 2 30-goal scorers who by the time the season will be over, Smith will be 21 and Celebrini's well on his way to being a 30-goal scorer. So just man, future is great. Speaking of Celebrini, played in his 96th game, 100 points with his assist. And again, just it's going so fast. And again, Darren Stevens, of course, having the names that Celebrini is with here when it comes to the how quickly he has accomplished this 100 NHL points, right? Sidney Crosby, Wayne Gretzky, Pierre Turgeon, Dale Hawerchuk, these are the name, these are not only just Hall of Famer, but all-time greats that we're talking about. And Celebrini is being mentioned in these with these same names. I continue to say it, the Sharks have a insanely special player with Maclin Celebrini. And you anytime he does anything and, has the puck on his, to the point where when he has the puck on his stick and just in the neutral zone with any sort of space, you hold your breath because you don't know what's going to happen next. And it's such a great feeling to have that type of player where you just, one, you hold your breath, and 2, you just expect him to pull magic out because he continually does pull magic out of nothing. And he had some of those plays tonight. Again, right? He had a steal that I thought he was about ready to turn this thing into something wonderful. Had a couple of those again. Even the play right where the Will Smith goal, where he's just winning a board battle against guys I've come to the point where anytime he gets into a board battle, I just assume he's going to win it because he's that good already. So we're watching the beginnings of a very special career. Do not take for granted how special Maclin Celebrini is, because he is one of a million type of player. You very rarely get one of these, and the Sharks, you have one, and that's why I think it's the Sharks are going to be one of those teams here sooner rather than later. And again, that gap between the Sharks and the Vegas starting to close here. So we're going to dig into the numbers of this game, talk about how the Sharks had their opportunities, couldn't take advantage of them. We'll talk, of course, about tonight, 7 minutes where nothing could go right for San Jose. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. The NBA is back, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. So even if you miss the start of the game or just want to ride the hot hand, Steph Curry, I'm looking at you. FanDuel has live bets and everything that from who's going to score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, guys, before we finish up, of course want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On NHL Game Night. Every game, every night until a Stanley Cup champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NHL Game Night on Locked On NHL on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts. All right, let's dig into the numbers of this game. So much more even strength game than the last game that we saw. We had 54 minutes of 5-on-5 time in this game, right? We had Vegas had 2 power plays. The Sharks had technically two power plays. They got one right like with 30 seconds left, so that counts. But and for the most part, very like numbers, as much as it felt like Vegas was controlling this game, Sharks made it interesting and made it much closer than I think we potentially realized. So 57 to 49 shot attempts in favor of Vegas, 53.77 to 46.23 in favor of Vegas. The actual shots, 21 to 18 in favor of Vegas at 5-on-5. Both teams only got, Sharks only got 21 shots on goal and Vegas only got 24. So kind of a little bit more low event hockey in this game. Scoring chances, 30 to 22 in favor of Vegas, 13 to 7. High danger chances in favor of Vegas, 2.51 to 1.46 expected goals for. Of course, in favor of Vegas. Vegas scored 3 5-on-5 goals. The Sharks scored 2 5-on-5 goals. But I think the second period, Vegas definitely started this game on time, and the Sharks struggled. And it wasn't until the Will Smith goal, which was very much a counterpunch type of goal. But Vegas really came out and tried to set the tone early, as you would expect, right? They figured this was a get right type of game and they treated it as such. But credit to the Sharks, who end of the first period pushed back, right? End of the second period, where again you have those 7 minutes where everything goes wrong. You're right. You have the 4v1 goal. You have the Nedeljkovic misplaying the wraparound attempt by Mitch Marner, and then you have Tomas Hertl scoring on the tip from the power play. But credit to the Sharks, right? How many times have we seen, previous seasons where that 4-1 becomes 7-1? And they found their game, and they did it relatively quickly there, where they earned the power play, and then Will Smith scores there, right? And the Eklund, Eklund gets a goal. That's a lot of Gaudette, with the great work along the boards there to spring him. And then Eklund, being able to tuck one home there, which again, Eklund continuing to do cool Eklund things we love to see. So, but even, beginning of the third, they were pushing. And then, credit to Vegas, because that's what Vegas does, right? Vegas did a really good job of standing up at the blue line, basically 4 wide, saying, we don't think you can get through here. We know you want to carry the puck in. We think we can beat you, dump and chasing. And whenever they did, the Sharks did, they couldn't really kind of break that fence there from Vegas. And Vegas, they were able to kind of get some more shot attempts, but they weren't like the super high danger kind, as they were just kind of content with taking shots out from kind of out far. But in the Sharks, they had some opportunities at the end. They just couldn't find that final goal. So there are plenty of positives to take away. But as for the lines, Eklund, Wenberg, Gaudette played 14-01. 17 to 14 shot attempts. Actual shots was 4 to 6. Had a goal, gave up a goal as well. 0.44 to 0.72 expected goals for. 8 to 8 scoring chances, 4 to 4 high danger chances for that line. I think Gaudette's been a really nice fit in on this line. We know Wenberg and Eklund, they're like that line is going to take a lot of the defensive responsibilities, and they continue to do positive things there. And it's been a really solid line for them, and I'm glad to see Eklund getting a couple goals, because again, like the Sharks, they need some goals from these guys like Eklund and Toffoli and Wenberg, etc. Like that's if they need more of that consistent secondary scoring. So Smith, Maclin, Celebrini, and Toffoli, they played 13-58 at 5-on-5, 15 to 18 shot attempts, 6 to 8 actual shots. Had the goal for. 0.41 to 0.59 expected goals for, 9 to 10 scoring chances, 2 to 2 high danger chances for this line. Continues to, right? I mean, with those two especially, you're going to give up some opportunities, right? It's a little, high risk, high reward with them. But Toffoli needs a goal. I think they're coming. Like I believe it. The Toffoli goals are going to come. Like he's going to have like 3 and 4 games type of situation. Like he's going to get back on track here really soon. I can feel it. I think it's happening this week. So Khrushchev, Delangey, Graf, 11:30 time on ice, 11 to 9 shot attempts, 4 to 3 actual shots. Gave up a goal, 0.41 to 0.41 expected goals for. 5 to 4 scoring chances, 1 to 4 high danger chances for this line. Graf and Delangey, I think, continue to be positive on the penalty kill. I felt bad for them on that. They just they got stuck out there for like that whole first penalty kill. They were definitely dragging, but they continue to be warriors out there. Khrushchev, I thought, it's been a little quiet from Khrushchev. We'll see there, but he could be, you never know with Khrushchev, right? With his speed, where he could just kind of pop one for you. Gaudreau, Ostapchuk, Reeves, 6:55, 3 to 6 shot attempts, 2 to 3 actual shots, 0.04 to 0.09 expected goals for, 0 to 3 scoring chances, 0 to 0 high danger chances. They were, doing their things. Reeves was like you could definitely physical from them, but like they're playing 7 minutes a night, which again, like I don't mind this line playing 7 minutes a night, and they definitely have an identity. So, but I'm a little surprised they played as deep into the third as they did, especially when you were kind of down a goal. But anyway, as for the defense here, I'm not going to harp too much on Klingberg because I already talked to him about a bunch. Even though the Ferraro Klingberg, they were at 64% Corsi 4 tonight. Orlov, Liljegren were at 45%. Also, Liljegren, I forgot to mention this. Liljegren just kind of standing there on the first hurdle goal, like kind of just stuck between. Kind of reminded me of the old Cody Ceci, just kind of stuck between two places and not making a decision, which leads to nothing happening. Letty Mukamadillin, 44%. Letty was fine tonight. Like he wasn't like, nothing where I thought where he was like, oh my gosh, just get him off the ice or anything like that tonight. But whatever. So, and then as for Nedeljkovic, 20 saves and 24 shots, 4 goals against, expected goals against 2.84, 833 save percentage, 4.12 goals against average, 4 of 8 high danger saves. That's the killer right there, especially with the Sharks, right? Where you have to be above expectations in the high danger, and going 4 of 8 is tough for the way the Sharks play. 5 of 5 mid danger and 11-11 low danger. So overall, it felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity. A little bit of a learning experience. So, we could definitely take some positives from tonight, but definitely felt like a missed opportunity for San Jose. And, I'm excited to see. So they play Utah again. I feel like they've already played Utah. This will be the 3rd time they played the Mammoth already. But so they played them on Monday. You got the Caps coming to town. So you have 2 big opportunities here to kind of get things going in the right direction for you against two quality teams here. And Logan Cooley, I know, did leave tonight's game, so we'll see. If they don't have Cooley, that's a massive blow for them. But yeah, we'll break down that game on Monday, get you ready for that. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts, and of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until tomorrow, Sunday night. Bye, friends.